Day 2. Okay, guys, I am coming on early just so I can get things set up. So as you jump in here, just hang tight. We're going to be starting at 7 o'clock sharp, but I just want to get the live going. I've got to share it into another group. So please, while you're waiting on me, make sure you grab your pen and your paper. Make sure that you invite somebody because they're going to want to hear this. Hopefully, you watched day 1. If you didn't, this one you will probably have to re-watch because day 1 is going to be critical. You have to work through day 1, okay? So while you're waiting on me to get this thing kicked off, please say hello. And if you did see day 1, I want to hear from you. Let me know what it stirred up. Let me know where you are. Give me some comments. Let me know any questions that came up for you. Was it hard? I want to hear from you, okay? So hang tight. Just say hello. Talk amongst yourselves because we're going to be getting rolling real soon, okay? One sec, guys. Everything's so different now. They changed Facebook, so it takes me a while longer. I don't want to embarrass myself, but okay, I got it shared over there. And just like yesterday, I went over yesterday because yesterday is such a big topic, I guess you should say, and it had a lot of work, and so we had to go over, and I apologize for going over. Tonight, it's not going to be as long, all right? But I want you to do the work, okay? Because if you're not going to do the work, I'm just sorry. I'm just going to say you're not going to have the breakthroughs. And we want breakthroughs. That's why you're here, right? Okay, so let me see if I can do something else here too. No, I can't. I don't know how to do it. All right, so we're going to get started. Hey, did you guys, if you watched day 1, drop a day 1 down there, okay? I want to know, did you watch day 1 mini-series? If you didn't, you will find it on my business page. That's just where I shared it. I'm going live there too. Or on my personal profile, which is where you may be seeing it. So doesn't matter where you're watching me from. I want to know if you watched it, excuse me, and I do have my water here tonight. Want to know if you watched it, but I also want to know what happened when you asked yourself those questions. And don't forget, if like when you're watching this, it was like too hard to kind of follow me when I asked you the questions, I have the paper copy. Send me a message through Messenger or even comment below. Just say, send it to me, Laurie, and I will send you a paper copy. And it could be good for you to just hold on to. I like to ask myself those questions as soon as I start feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing, or is this the right thing? Or when you start feeling stuck, these questions are really good to pull you back into center, to help you start getting uncluttered, okay? That's why I kind of wanted to do this on my business page and my personal profile so that you guys have these. Repeat them, go back, listen to them again, because I promise you, they're going to help you. A lot of these questions, I told you guys yesterday, I use on my with my coaching, and it's very helpful because we are all the same. Can I just say that? We're all the same. What we think is going on oftentimes is not what's really happening. And so you need somebody to ask you some of these powerful questions like my coach did to me. Ask you some powerful questions to help you go deeper, to find why that keeps coming up, why you keep having those same thoughts, why you can't have those breakthroughs, why you feel frustrated or disappointed or angry or fearful. These questions will help you to start unlocking that. Okay? Woo! Sound like a plan to you guys? All right, why don't we just kind of get started? It's almost 7. I can't really see. This light that I have to have on is really bright. But for those of you who weren't here yesterday, or maybe you don't even know who the heck I am Laurie Maxon. I am the coach at Down to Earth Women Building Success. I've got papers everywhere. I have been a coach for over 10 years. I did a lot of health coaching. I did personal development coaching, and I've done business coaching. And so I wrap all of that up so that I can give you the information, give you what I've learned on my journey. And it was a tough one. And some days it really is still very tough. Okay? So at least you know where I'm coming from. I also like to share with everyone, I am a Christian. God comes first in my life. So a lot of what I share is because I am a faith-driven person. And I believe that we can all have breakthroughs. But I also believe that everything starts up here. A little bit of background, okay? Yesterday, I taught you something called ATV. Anybody remember what that was? It's A stands for authentic, T is transparent, and V is vulnerable. That's what I required of you. And I still require it of you today. And I tell you that because I do it to myself. I want to make sure that I'm not giving fake responses. I'm not giving just responses that make me look good or make me feel good, but they're real. Because when you use ATV, I will tell you, my friends, it's going to change everything. Because when you are able to be vulnerable and really look at yourself, that's what we did yesterday. I asked you some powerful questions because we're on this Meet Me in the Middle is all about, I kind of described it yesterday and I'll say it really quickly today. ATV and Meet Me in the Middle kind of work together because I see so many women struggling. They're either at a starting point or they have gotten started and they're stuck. And then they keep going and listening to all these highly successful people that, are financially free, have things that they want. And we listen to them and they give us all this motivation, but they don't tell us how. They don't tell us how to get there. They tell us their story. But the meat of it is, guess what? In the middle. And so I know that in 3 days, don't think that I'm like some kind of guru or, awesome person. I'm just telling you that I know that you need help. We all do. And listening to those people is great. I'm not dissing them at all. But I am saying they're not going to get you to where you need to go. It takes work. And what they don't tell you is what we talked about yesterday. So make sure you go back and watch that video, okay, or that live. Now we're going to break in. We finished up yesterday with some questions, and I have them in front of me. We talked about, really the big kahuna questions were making you really look at yourself through authentic, transparent, and vulnerable eyes. That was yesterday's work. And I know, and a dear friend even said, hey, I'm still working through that. It will take you more than a night. It will take you days, okay? So I'm not telling you that you are going to be like, after day 3, you're going to be like, oh, wow. No, there's work involved. But I promise you, if you start doing this work, and if you continue working through that, I know that I will hear from you with breakthroughs. And then we finished up yesterday because after I had you really pull yourself apart and look at yourself, I asked you, if you don't change anything, and you're right where you are then in the next 5 years, will that be like dreadful for you, or will you be happy, excited? Will it be a pleasant experience? I also asked you questions like, who will you need to become? What are you going to have to do in order to see this person that you want to see? Okay? And we're going to be talking about this person today. I also asked you, how do you want other people to see you? Do you want them to see you? Do you want them to remember you like you are right now? Because my friends, if you're here, it's probably you don't like a lot of what you see. And you want to start working on you. Hey, I'm still working on me. Okay, so don't feel bad about that. I don't want to be remembered as a quitter. I don't want to be remembered as somebody who was just filled with regret. I don't want my children or my family or my friends to see Laurie was always miserable, disappointed, always made excuses. Like, I don't want people to see that or remember that. I want them to see the Laurie Maxon I want to become. And that's what you do too. I'm certain of it, or you wouldn't be here. Okay? So we talked a lot about that. Now remember, it's going to take work, and I want you to take your time doing it. Okay? But now we're going to show up, right? Are you guys getting a little bit excited here? Yesterday was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was hard. Okay? I don't like taking a deep look at Laurie Maxon, because then I've got to be really honest. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on the next step. Okay? It's still going to require you to use the ATV that I talked about. You still are going to have to do, think about that. Am I being authentic? Am I being transparent? Am I being vulnerable? Really open? That was really hard for me to say to other coaches. And I remember saying this to another coach, at an event I was at one time. I said, I know what I'm doing, but I just don't know that this is what I want to do. The unease I'm talking about, right? And I wanted to deal with that unease. And I want you to deal with the unease, because we're not supposed to live there. We're not supposed to live there, okay? Let's see. Let's get started, all right? I wanted you to see the person that you are right now. That's who we described yesterday, the person that you are right now. And it's important that you have that written down. It's important that it's on paper, because it's really powerful to look back and see where you were and see how far you've come. Very powerful, okay? But it's also awakens you to see what's going on upstairs that we have to deal with so that we can get to be that person. Here's something else, and you guys can challenge me on this, but as I was putting this together, this really struck me. See, we always talk about passion and purpose. We always talk about that. And finding your passion, finding your purpose. But I will tell you, without doing the step that we did yesterday in describing yourself, where you are, who you want to be, who you're going to have to become, I would say that it's probably highly unlikely that you will ever find your passion or your purpose. Yeah. So if you're struggling finding your passion or your purpose, this could be why. It could be why. And so I challenge you to really go through the series and take your time doing it, all right? From those two steps that I talked to you about yesterday, from the questions and then what we ended with, those questions, you most likely found areas, or more than one area, that you are stuck in and you want to change, all right? So what we do next can include any or all those areas. What we're going to work on can include all of them. I want you to really work through that on all of those areas. Don't just neglect one, okay? But like I said, you're still going to have to be authentic, transparent, and vulnerable. Because, and this is why I tell you this, society's going to tell you things. Your family's going to tell you what their idea of your life should look like. Because we always ask other people. You may see coworkers, you may see other people, and you want that, but you don't even know what that is. I'm drawing you back in. Because see, what is really important, I'm sorry I keep moving my papers. This light is shining on them and I can't see my notes. Because it's really important for you to be able to align, right? Align that person that you see, that person, and a lot of people will say, I don't know what I want. That's because you're listening to too many other people. When we slow it down and when you go through these questions and you're asking yourself these things, now I want you to focus it on you. That's why ATV is so powerful, because you can't get that looking at somebody else. You can only get it looking at you. And when we find that person, and then all of a sudden we start aligning that person with your values, what's important to you, what lights you up inside. I had a lot of people tell me, Yeah, well, I'm just happy like being around my family. I just want to be around my family. That's what brings me joy. Good. I had somebody once tell me, you have to have a hobby. No, I don't. I'm an introvert. I don't need to do things, okay? What makes me happy is like what I do is giving, is sharing, is teaching, is being with my kids, is being able to drop and go and help my kids with something, or like being with my husband and doing nothing. Like that brings me joy. And guess what, guys? I want you to start thinking, what brings you joy? Is it long walks? Is it watching movies on Saturday afternoons? Is it going and having your nail or hair done? Like whatever it is, that's okay. Don't let somebody else come into this space of you, because that's when you can start thinking and you'll start asking yourself questions like, and is this all there is? Is this what I'm supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is line it up with your goals, your visions, what makes you happy, your dreams. Your happiness is going to depend on you. So can we just all relax for a minute? And I'm just going to tell you, even as a coach, when I go to do these mini-series, and I told you a little bit yesterday, I get like this nervousness inside of me. And I don't even know why. And then I have to relax and I have to just say, who cares? Nobody needs me to be perfect. Okay? I told you guys, I may stutter, I may screw up, I may not read my notes right. So what? My purpose here is to try to give you as much value in this short amount of time as I can so that you can have aha moments and breakthroughs. So let's just breathe a minute, all right? Now, I want to do something. And this word is really powerful. And when somebody said it to me, I was just like, oh, I like that. So I use it a lot. You have permission right now to free yourself from other people's expectations. You have permission right here, right now, to free yourself from other people's expectations for your life. Right here. And I want you to accept that, okay? Let me just kind of give you, because you guys know how I talk, I like to give you visuals. Visuals always help me. Maybe they don't help you, but I'm sure they help some people. Have you ever watched the movie Willy Wonka? Drop a Willy Wonka below. Or WW. That used to be one of my favorite movies. And do you know why? Because like I have like a creative mind. Like I like to create things. And Willy Wonka, like I was always fascinated. I was always excited, like when you open those doors, right? When you open those doors and everything was like crazy, like things were impossible. Like how do you have this huge lake of chocolate, and you can go through this little yard and pick things that look like flowers and it's candy, and put your hands and get whipped cream out of the center. And I was thinking about that movie because I thought it's perfect for you today because I've given you permission and I want you to start thinking like nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. I have said to myself so many times, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's impossible. Or I wouldn't be able to achieve that. Or, yeah, lucky them, right? You've said it. I know you have. Like, let's not lie here, right? So if we think about the movie Willy Wonka, we're in our Willy Wonka world here. And you get to create you. You get to create the best of you. Isn't that exciting already? And you need your paper, okay? You need your pen and paper. Because I want you to start creating you. And here is your assignment for today. We worked really hard yesterday describing where you are right now. But I want you to describe now, what do you want? See, if you're a giving person like I am, a lot of times you don't even take the time to think about that because you're so busy making sure everybody else is happy. But the bottom line is, you really can't make sure everybody else is happy if you aren't. And when it struck me that people are looking at me and that like I want to leave a legacy, I want people to remember me, I thought, man, I don't want them to remember me like as nothing, as doing nothing, because I have a God-given purpose inside of me. I have gifts inside of me that I've got to be using. And some people are going to hate you. Some people won't like you. But guess what? Somebody needs you. And so even if I do this mini-series and one person is like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting years for this breakthrough. I've been stuck for so long thinking that I have to do the right things and this and that and steps. And I always have a block. Well, we figured that out yesterday, right? And so today you have permission to start dreaming like Willy Wonka. What do you want your relationships to look like? Some of you are stuck in a relationship right now, or you don't know what kind of relationship you want. You just feel like you're settling, or it could be better. You don't know what it is. What do you want it to look like? We never take the time to do that. What do you want your career to look like? How long do you want to work? Where do you want to work? What makes you happy? What do you want to be doing? What about your health? I used to do this too. Okay, but I see a lot of people like they just don't care about their health anymore. They're like, I tried this and that and I just quit. But guess what? They're not happy. What is it going to take to make you happy about your health? See, I told you guys, no, I didn't. But if you've ever watched any of my lives in the past, there was literally probably 15 years that there were no pictures of me. None. I hated the way I looked. I hated looking at myself because I always thought I was just too fat. And I couldn't stand it, so I never took pictures until one day somebody put a quote that your kids aren't going to care about what you look like. They're going to care that they had the memory of you. And so I really started taking care of myself because that's how I wanted them to remember me. What do you want your health to look like? Remember, we're in Willy Wonka world. I have on my vision board abs of steel. Man, I don't really work hard for it, but I have it on there as a reminder that I want to keep myself in good health, that I really would love abs of steel, but I have to work towards it. No, and if I showed you, there's no date to it, okay? Spiritually, I hear a lot of people say, man, I just feel like God doesn't hear me. God doesn't answer. What are you doing about it? What do you want that relationship with God to look like? See, I'm asking you these questions to give you ideas about what do you want. Now, maybe these aren't your areas that you're struggling with or that you feel stuck in. I just hit the top ones that I know most people are stuck in, okay? About your home. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? How many kids do you want to have? And see, I want you to think about that. Create this the way you want it. If you're not happy, if you feel stuck in it, what do you want? Write it out. The reason you have to write it out is because, like I told you the other day, most people quit before they get to where they want to be. Most people don't have an emotional attachment to it. It's like wishy-washy. It's like what they think society says they should do, or their family says, and so they just think, okay, yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, that's where I'll live, right? And there's nothing attached to it, so it's very easy to just let it go. Today in Willy Wonka world, I want you to really pause, and I want you to just be completely ATV and write out your story and be very detailed. Be very detailed with it. Let go of what you think is possible. Because automatically, as soon as you write something down, your brain's going to tell you, yeah, right. And I want you to just let that go and say, oh no, yeah, that's right. That's it. That's what would make me happy. That's what I want. See, I want you to learn to know when your subconscious is kicking in to tell you those lies so that you can put up the hand. Put your hands up right now, my friends. Put your hands up. See, when we face problems in the midst of this, we normally will sink and let our dreams go. But not now. Not today. You have permission to just put your hands up and say no. See, sometimes here's a couple problems that when we start getting into this, when people want this dream, when they're creating it, then we can also run into problems, right? So we're going to address some of those. And you can let me know if I don't address it and you see another problem, all right? Here's one of those problems. Is sometimes people create vision boards. How many people have a vision board? I do, all right? We create these vision boards and they're great. They're great ideas. But the problem is we haven't gone through, like number one, what we did yesterday. We haven't gone through that, which is all up here. So let me just give you a perfect example. You have this vision of this mansion or this beautiful home that you want to live in. You have inside your head, right? You're wrestling with defeat or fears or anxiety, or you're depressed or you're discouraged. Guess what? You cannot have a positive attachment to the mansion when that's what's going on inside. It's impossible. So you have this beautiful vision board that everybody tells you to make, and quite honestly, it's worthless. That's why you have to go, and people don't tell you. People don't tell you where to start, and that's why you're confused, and that's why your brain is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing the right things. I got the vision board. I'm listening to these motivational speakers. I'm reading all of these books, but you haven't cleared out the crap that's in the head. Make sense, guys? Does that make sense? That's why we started there. Now we're building. Now we're creating this person that we want to become. We're creating what we really want because now we have things attached to it. Here's another thing. This dream of ours can be really big. But see, without emotional attachments, we're likely not going to reach them. What do I mean by that? Here's the problem. You've heard that your why should make you cry. Anybody ever hear that before? Your why should make you cry? I've heard it. I've heard it 1,000 times. And I'm like, oh, all right, okay, my why should make me cry. And so then I would think of like something. Oh, and I hear this a lot. I want to do this for my family. I want to do it to get my husband home. I want to do it to get my wife home. I want to get this. It's not big enough. Can I tell you a secret that I just learned? Guys, you can pass this along because I think it's pretty cool. When people say that their why makes them cry, I want you to look at it. I want you to evaluate that why. And do you know why? Because here's what I came up with. Most of the whys that make us cry, that we create, okay, when we have this dream or we have this vision and our purpose and what we want to do to achieve it, most of it, I believe, comes from an emotion out of desperation instead of celebration. Can I have some mind-blown emojis there? Did you hear what I said? Most people who say your why should make you cry, when you don't go through this process in the right order, most people's whys, sorry, my dog threw his ball up on the back of my chair. Most people's emotions are created out of a desperation, out of a negative, like they don't have enough of, or they're not satisfied, or their fear of losing something. Are you following me? Am I making sense? So when you have this why that makes you cry, make sure it's not out of desperation, but celebration. Like you can say, I want my spouse to be able to, quit working because they work so hard, to help us meet financially, all of our expenses and stuff. Instead say, I want to bring my husband or my wife home from work so that we can travel. Create the why of celebration. See, because a lot of people, I believe, get stuck because, see, you cannot have a why that's created with this negative emotion and expect positive results. It's impossible. And see, motivation and drive don't come with a negative mindset. It only comes with a positive mindset. We've got to learn to shift it. So as you're working on, who do I want to become? Who is this Laurie Maxon? Who are you? What do you really want? What is it that you're struggling in? And then define it, and then ask yourself, how can I turn this so that I can see the positive side of achieving it? And that, my friends, drives the motivation. That drives your commitment. That will keep you going. But why's making you cry out of desperation or negative thoughts won't. That's powerful for somebody. Here's another reason. Your vision doesn't align with the effort to achieve it. That was me. Like, nobody told me that. Nobody said that. They said, create a vision board, put everything you want on it. And can I tell you, it was kind of funny. Because remember what I said, don't do what society tells you. Don't do what you think you're supposed to do. Do what you want. See, when I first created my vision board, I had Bora Bora on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. I would love to go there. But the truth is, my authentic personality, I don't like to travel. So I will probably never go there. So for me to have that on my vision board was ridiculous. So now on my vision board, I have God. I have my family. I have, what else do I have on there? Purpose. I have being grateful. I have dreaming big. Like, I have those things because that's who I am. I can align with that vision board. If you have a vision board, and I encourage you to do that, hush, what is on it? And is it really you? I hope it is, okay? Where else? Are we? Okay, here's something else I want to share with you. Most people quit after creating their vision. And those are some of the reasons that I shared with you that they do it. Because you have to be aligned with it. It has to be a why of celebration. It has to be from the right kind of mindset. Because you will quit. You will quit on your vision board. You will quit on your dreams because it'll seem too hard. You will quit if people, like I said, if your dream is this big, but you're only willing to work this much, like that was me. Like, I had this big dream, like, let's go be a millionaire, Lars, so that we can build houses for, the homeless. We can have these dog shelters. But my effort was, like, I was not going to take all of these hours away from my husband and away from my family. So that vision was way too big based on my effort. So what I had to do was I had to say, what is important to me? How am I going to align those so that I can dream big, right? I just had to adjust them. Because becoming a millionaire in a year would have meant that I would probably have to work 20 some hours a day, every day. And that's all I did. And I wasn't willing to do that. So I had to shrink the millionaire status for now. Okay? Are you with me? Because see, you have to put in the amount of effort that would be equal to the big dream that you have. And I'm not saying don't dream big, I want you to, but I want you to make sure, see, because if you can't achieve it then, if you're only putting in a few hours a day or an hour a day, you won't be a millionaire in a year. But it doesn't mean that you can't make, more money. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If you are working, if you want to improve your spiritual life, if you want to be like a pastor or a teacher or a counselor or something like that, then you can't only put in an hour a day. You have to put in a lot more effort into studying, into being in the Word, into being around other people, into learning. You have to put in more effort. And sometimes we're not willing to do that. So we have to check ourselves. It's also hard. It's hard. And we really haven't created the drive and the commitment, which can only come with that high positive emotional attachment that I talked to you about. That's why we had to do yesterday's work. Because you can't have this high positive emotional attachment to give you that drive and that commitment, that no-quit attitude. You can't have that when you have all of the negative talk going on in your head. We have to address it. We also quit too soon. See, because if your vision isn't connected to a commitment, or like until I get it, you know, a commitment till you get it mentality, then you'll really stop way too soon. When I was reading the book Think and Grow Rich, it stuck in my head that the guy stops right before he hits the gold because he got tired. And it was only like 3 feet away. And that sticks in my head. Keep going, Lar, because maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And if I quit, I can't live with a regret. It's too hard. So I'll keep going even though it's hard. That's the kind of mentality you have to have. No matter what it is that you're stuck in, no matter what you've tried so far, you have to be able to say, okay, my attachment, because we worked through one, you know where you want to go. Now your positive emotional attachment is bigger, is stronger, you're more committed. So every time you want to quit, you won't. We also, when we do that, when we do quit, when we want to quit, all right, all of a sudden, that regret thought, the frustration, the disappointment, the being stuck gets bigger and bigger, and then it's harder to get started again. That's why I'm glad you're here. That's why I'm glad you're here, because you're obviously tired of being stuck. You're tired of you're tired of doing the right things, but you don't see results and you don't know why. You're tired of everybody passing you by. You're tired of all those things that we talked about yesterday. See, drive can't be inspired through fear. And most all of the negative thoughts that we have, we can put it into some kind of fear category. I have them, and I know I have them, and I see them creep up, and as soon as they do, as soon as I start feeling it, I've learned to, and sometimes it's a battle, my friends, to shut that puppy down. But sometimes I can easily recognize it and shut it down right away. I want you to get to that point. And see, I want you to feel like Willy Wonka, that anything, you can make anything. Those little Oompa Loompas, those little Oompa Loompas can make anything. They can do anything. So what could your life look like? What could it look like? What do you want it to look like? Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody has a perfect life. I don't care what you see on TV. I don't care who's like in your company, in your business, in your family. I don't care what you see. No one has a perfect life, and they all have struggles. But what we're doing here is we're causing you to break through. I am pulling away. I'm helping you pull away what is keeping you in that mindset, so that now, today, you start looking and saying, you know what? I want to be able to have that nicer house. I want to have a newer car. I want to be able to buy my kids clothes that aren't on sale. I want to be able to go on vacation. I want to be able to do that. So then, how much effort do you have to put into it? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to say, here's what I want, so here's the effort that I'm going to put in? Because my emotional attachment to it is positive. Because I know that I can be able to celebrate and give more of myself and be the best of me over here. Over here, with a negative mindset, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here next year. I don't even want to be here right now. I'm asking you to do work. I told you yesterday that you're going to have to do work. So are you willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to put in the work? What we did yesterday and what you're going to do today is hard, because most of you have never thought about it. Most of you have never taken the time to really identify everything that you really see in your life. I told you guys yesterday, I struggle with confidence. I struggle with, not being smart enough, not being good enough. I struggle with those things. But I get on here because I push against that. And every time I do, and every time I'm on the phone, or every time I'm talking with someone, and I'm able to help them see something that they didn't see before, it's worth it. Now, I'm not talking about your job necessarily. I'm talking about relationships. Every day, I when I'm having conversations with my husband, I try to be step back and say, how did I handle that? Should I have said that? And I'm really getting better. Why? Because I'm now mindful. How do I build a better relationship with my husband? Because I'll be honest with you, before, I'm like, man, you're smart. You know what you're doing. You don't need me. Just go do whatever. And like, I didn't give him the attention that he needed. I didn't pour myself in to like being, honoring my husband. And then with my family, I have to learn to step back sometimes. See, I'm learning all the time. You have to look at yourself and say, how do I want to be remembered by my kids? Do I want them to see me like as a nag or butting in? Or do I want them to see that I would do anything for you? I love you. But that also means things I do, things I say may hurt. They may not be what you want to hear. But I know it's for your good. Or maybe it's with a coworker. Who knows what it is with you? Maybe it's none of those like examples that I gave you. But you know, and that's what's important. You know who the best of you is. Because when you start thinking about it, like those thoughts that are coming into your head right now, when I was asking you those kind of questions, those thoughts that were coming into your mind, that's who you are already. It's in there, and we talked about it yesterday. The cinder block has come down because something stopped you, and now you're just kind of really living out of a negative mode, and you don't even realize it, and that's why we had to work yesterday. And here's something that I want to share. I don't want you to decrease your dreams. I want you to increase your effort. Because here's why I say that. You know how I said, okay, I wanted to be a millionaire and then I had to shrink it? Well, that's because that was not realistic. What is realistic is who you can become. But just like I do, you have to put effort into it. Like if I want to be a better wife, a better mother, a better nana, a better friend, a better coach, I have to put effort into it. And that means, like we talked yesterday, you will have to get uncomfortable. You're not going to be able to stay and do things tomorrow exactly as you did today. It won't work. Or guess what? In 5 years, you're going to be right back here again. So write it out. Write those areas out that you want to change. Just like we did yesterday, I want you to write out this dream person. Who is this person? What do they look like? What do they care about? What do they love? What brings them joy? Where do they want to go? What do they want to do? We created your reality on yesterday. I made you really look deep inside and see how you're showing up, who you are, what your fears are, what your challenges are, what your struggles are, what your obstacles are. And I asked you if you wanted to stay there. I asked you if that's how you want to be remembered. I asked you if it was a loved one that was like in that mindset that you had right now, would that be okay? And I'm certain your answer was absolutely not. But you're allowing yourself. And so we stop that. But you have that all written out on paper. And if you don't, go back to day one and do it. Spend time. I don't care if it takes you a week. But do it every day. Work on it every day. Don't let time slip away, because that, my friend, is an excuse. That will keep you stuck. Okay? I also asked you to decide whether or not those things are going to be acceptable to you in 5 years. If that's how you wanted to be remembered, like you are today. Or do you want to be like that highly successful person that you listen to all the time, you read about all the time? Do you want to be remembered by something, by being someone, by pouring yourself out, by tapping into who you want to become? Because see, the trick is who you want to become starts today. It's already there. But you have to just like start. You have to start. Today we are creating what you really want, your vision. Does it align with you? You. Not society, not the world, not your friends, not your family. Does it align with you? Does it feel good? So as you're writing it, I want you to check that. Are you doing it for you? Is that what you want? Is your effort enough? Because the bigger the effort, the bigger the dream, the bigger the effort. And it's okay to have big dreams. Just make sure the effort's the same so that you don't feel frustrated that you're not going fast enough. Because remember I told you yesterday, we're ignoring time, okay? We're ignoring how long it takes. The point of this is to get you moving, all right? And I will tell you this, that here's where I believe that the comparison issue comes from, is the big dreams and the effort required. See, because I believe like some people are further along because a couple of things. Their dreams weren't as big, okay? Or they were really big, but so was the effort that they put in. See, when we talk about things, we always say, well, yeah, you know, they started the same thing, but you don't understand where they are. Remember, we talked about this plane yesterday. Some people have no vision at all. Some people are highly successful. And then in between, we've got the people who have started. We have the people who have stalled, right? Because they feel stuck because they haven't got the right mindset yet. And you're on this plane and you're looking at all these highly successful people and you're going, yeah, but I'm doing everything that they said. I'm doing all that. But, because they'll tell you, like, let me give you an example. In network marketing, you have these people who are high rankers and they'll say, here's what you do. And then you try to do those right things, right? You try to do the right things, but it doesn't happen for you. That's because they're talking from a millionaire standpoint and you just got started. They didn't talk to you about all the effort that had to go in each and every day. They didn't tell you that they spent 18 hours a day, or they didn't eat, or they didn't do that. They didn't tell you all of that and how long that lasted because they don't remember. Don't compare yourself because you don't know what somebody else's dream is, but you don't know the effort that they put in to get there either. Your job is to create your dream, your vision, and say, does this align with me? My vision, my values, my family, what I want. Do I have this high positive emotion attached to it? And then what effort am I going to put into it to get there? Do they match up? Because I promise you, when you see them start matching up, you're going to start making progress. But you won't scrolling through Facebook. You won't sit here listening to lives every night teaching you stuff. That won't happen. That's not effort. Effort is you doing the homework that I gave you. That's effort. And that's applying it. It's not just hearing things. It's saying, what does this mean to me? How can I do this? How can I become this? Now, tomorrow night, I'm closing up. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about how steps. We're going to do a review, all right? And we're going to talk about how. I'm going to answer your questions and your comments. If you have questions or comments, make sure that you leave them below. These lives will be up. Come back to them, rewatch them, redo them, invite somebody who's struggling. That's your job. That's one of your jobs, is to share and teach other people what you know. If you learn something, tell somebody, okay? That's what I'm doing. I told you what happened to me with my coach, and so I'm telling you, now it's your job to get to work and to do this. You did day 1. I want you to do day 2, and then I want to see you back here tomorrow. God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Always good to have you. And don't forget, leave your questions or comments below. I will get to them later. Until then, I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.